Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get this. All right. Just trying to get this camera right. I'm hoping, I'm upstairs, obviously. I'm gonna put this hutch together for fall, and I'm hoping the dog doesn't bark. But if she does, it's real life. That's what happens. So let me just, so basically I'm going to share. So what I did up at the top here is I grabbed a bunch of my ironstone pitchers and like little pots, and I just set those on the top, kind of just in, I mean, the bigger ones on the ends. And then, you know, I added some old books between the two big ones. Let's see if I can say this. Behind this first row of the smaller ones, I added some old books so I could lift the ones behind this first row up so they were taller. Does that make sense? So I don't have anything in them right now, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's simple, but something like this, and they don't have to be ironstone. A lot of times, let me see, are these? If I find a really cool picture, white picture, I will pick it up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be ironstone. So like this would be an easy, what do I want to say? You could easily do this, then put greenery and stuff in it for the holiday season, right after fall. So make it easy on yourself. So something like this, that's why I love picking up pieces like this at the thrift store, because you can use them all year round. Summer, spring, fall, winter, they just work, right? And when you have a collection like this, putting them together like this, it just kind of makes it, I don't know, makes kind of a statement. But I wouldn't fill like all 3 shelves of this with it, if that makes sense. You know, you don't have to have like a huge collection to make a statement. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so I am going to start putting this together and kind of just talk about why I pick up what I pick up. And yeah, so glass jars. I've shared these many times. I love them for organizing and also for decorating. But this one was so massive. I did find it at the thrift store. But pick these up. I love, for like supplies in my office or like Gabrielle's art supplies, the clear jars that you can see through, so much better. Because if I don't see it, I might forget that I have it. And then you're buying more because you don't think you have something when you actually do. Now, this next thing I shared in one of my thrifting hauls, you guys told me they were artichokes, and they could be. When I tried to look them up online, I only found like green faux artichokes, if that makes sense. So I don't know. They're a great color for fall, so I'm just gonna throw those in here. Now, there's so much stuff like this at thrift stores. Right now, there's tons of pine cones. You can find just all kinds of things. Look in the wreath section. You can take wreaths apart and get different things on like off the wreath. I bought so many wreaths just for the things that were actually on it and not the wreath itself. So I'm going to add, oh, it's right here. So I'm just gonna add the lid, and I'm just gonna set this big piece kind of off into the corner. Now, here's another thing you could add to a jar. Let me show you. So these, we used to, before we had that huge derecho storm, if you've been here a while, we had one a couple years ago and it wiped out all our trees. But we used to have the little acorns. I know they're kind of a pain in your yard and everything, but I would have the kids go down and we would use acorns for counting and projects and colors, and we would do all kinds of things with them. But these would be really cool too. These are just the tops, and you can buy these. But those would be obviously in a huge jar like this that would take way too many. But go out to your yard and find things kind of like this, or different things that you can put in jars. So you don't have to buy anything, but your thrift store is your friend when you are decorating. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna add is, this is actually in my shop right now. I love this thing so much. It's actually from the 70s. It's like legit authentic 70s wall hanging basket. It looks like a flower to me, but like a fall flower. You know what I mean? Both sides. I love this thing. So I'm just gonna add this right over here, just to kind of balance it out, right? So I have something huge there. I need something huge over here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add, I love this little wood stand. Again, thrift store find. This was a yard sale, but thrift store find. So things like this, I love them because I always call them risers, but they just lift something up if you need a little bit of height, but yet they're also decorative. You know what I mean? They're not, it's not just like up there, I hid some old books. You're not going to see them. I love old books. Don't get me wrong. I have them all over our house. But up here, I didn't need it to be part of what it looked like. Does that make sense? So I just hid them back there. But this, you're gonna see it. So this is kind of like a decorative. Look for these things in thrift stores. They come in all shapes and sizes. Like this wood bowl that I just shared. So it's like this, and it's full of this. I wish it wasn't, because then I could flip it around. But it's just this on the bottom. So when I saw this, I started thinking of all the ways, if it was flipped over, it could be a riser. I could put things on top of this and add height. So it doesn't have to have feet on it to be a riser. Just think outside the box when you're shopping in a thrift store at a yard sale. If something was flipped over, could it be a riser? If you found like a wood, I don't have anything right here near me. If you found like a wood cutting board, could you add little wood feet? And you guys, it's just wood. Find wood knobs. Those are perfect. They're inexpensive, and wood knobs make the best feet on things like that. Super easy project, and an easy way for you to make a riser out of whatever you're finding. This is, let me see. This and a couple other pumpkins are the only things that I actually bought in a store. These are from Target, Dollar Spots, years ago. Years ago. It wasn't last year. It was years ago. So I'm just adding that. I'm not adding tons of pumpkin. So when you're decorating for a new season, what I like is just to bring the season in without it screaming like fall just spilled all over this. Like fall leaves and pumpkins, and like, you don't have to have all that, and you don't have to buy all those things for it to be fall. So think of colors, think of textures, think of like, it's a cozy season. Think of those kinds of things when you're decorating for the fall season. Instead of just thinking you have to go out and buy 75 pumpkins for it to look like fall. So these old brushes, I knew it was gonna do this. I've had this one forever. It's got this. I love old brushes. Look at this one. My mom had this one, and I asked for it forever, and then she gave it to me. Oh, this is like, that's like a treasure. Anyway, so I won't do this now. But now that it's started, I kind of want to. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I've had this forever. I think I've always had it turned around. But so things like this, I like to add to for fall. Then I'm gonna add in, so we have a lot of, this is a lighter color. This is more of the darker color. So I'm gonna add in another picture. So again, pick up things that can be used all year round, like these white pictures. They're just so, like they're not gonna go out of style. You can use them all year round. They're just perfect. Okay, the next thing I have, this is actually in my shop as well, but I love it. These two things are actually available right now. This, it's big, it's a huge size. It's an old copper cowbell, but the copper color, brass color, even like a tarnished silver, I kind of think I love like tarnished metals. Tarnished silver I think is a little more like wintry, but I just love brass and copper. So if you have those pieces, bring them out. Bring them out and use them for the season. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is, this is kind of a winter scene, but it's one of my favorite little things. But the color's kind of in it here. It's gonna be in the backdrop, the dark frame. It's okay. Like it can be fall. But then you can, again, you can use that throughout winter. I just love little pictures like that. I've got another one that's not really fall at all either, but I just found it and the frame is fall. So it's gonna work. It's gonna work. And I kind of need something in for a backdrop. So I found this in a store that has, what do I want to say, like kind of found items and new items, if that makes sense. This was a couple years ago when we were on vacation. Obviously the color, it's perfection for fall. And then you guys, you can make these wood beads. You don't have to buy them, but I have shared many times, like in stories and things, where I have found them inexpensive. Around the holidays, Walmart has wood bead garlands for like your Christmas tree, and they're inexpensive. And you can usually get, you know, it's not just red and green, if that makes sense. You can get other colors that can work for all year round. Okay, the next thing I'm going to, whoa, as I drop everything. So again, this kind of, what do I want to say, pedestal bowl. It's perfect for decorating. It's full, so I can't really, it's not ironstone, but it really looks like it. So what do I have inside? If you guys have been here for a while, Scrabble tiles first. So that's kind of my nest inside there. And then this is another Target wood pumpkin that I got a couple years ago. So I just set that inside there. And again, this is bigger than this, but yet this is substantial enough that it balances it out, if that makes sense. These little, like watering cans, these old watering can things, you can buy them new too. But I just filled it with tiny Scrabble tiles. Again, this is something that I use all year round, but when you put this stuff together, it looks like fall. It just kind of gives a fall vibe. Okay, I'm just gonna set that there. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna add is, and I have shared this many times, I almost just broke this. But when you're decorating shelves like this, use this back part. Use the, wherever you're decorating. But unless it's like even if it's an open shelf. Well, I'm trying to give you a good example. If you even have like shelves on the wall that aren't in a cabinet, if that makes sense, use the wall behind it, because that's how you can add so much more without taking up a lot of space. So this was a recent find and I absolutely love it. This is fall. It might be a little more, you know what I mean, but summery, but that's okay. The colors on the sails and then the frame, we're gonna say it's fall. So when you're doing things like this, you don't have to just have it in the center. Get away from everything has to be centered, everything has to be perfect. It's more interesting when it's not, right? So this one is not perfectly center, and this one doesn't line up with this one, but it just, so your eye can kind of move like this. Does that make sense? So it's not just like this. I feel like I'm directing traffic, but do you get what I'm saying? Just so keep things moving and it doesn't all have to be matched up perfectly. Okay, I think this one is, no, this one's not marked, but I am pretty certain this is ironstone. You guys, I shared this in a thrifting haul. I about died when I came around the corner and this was there. I mean, one of my favorite things. So again, I put some Scrabble tiles in here. Number one, they're great for fall. I use them all year round. But number two, they kind of add some height in here, so you're not having to fill it with a ton of stuff. And this is a bigger pumpkin than this one. So I'm just adding that one in. They have different wood tones, so kind of mix it up. This one's really light. He does not want to sit straight. Just move your Scrabble tiles. There we go. And if you want him higher, you want to see more, just bunch those Scrabble tiles together or whatever you have in here. You can use, like, what is that grass called? It's like grass, but it's like, not like moss, but there's so many things you can use. And check your thrift stores because they will have it. They will have it wreaths are in that section. So you can use all kinds of things in here. If you're not gonna see this, I've shoved like Target sacks in here or like newspaper or something and things like this. Like if it was gonna be up super high and you weren't gonna see what was in it, just to get, because I needed height or I needed to fill a basket or I needed to fill a, we'll say like something like this. Just shove some newspapers or something in it. Don't waste money on, you know, stuffing it with stuff that's actually decorative, if that makes sense. Use old bags or newspapers. Okay, this, who was here? I shared this. This is from Heat, this color. So this is an ironstone pitcher, but I absolutely love this. Perfect for fall, right? So I'm just gonna add that right over here. And I wanna see that. Somebody may call that an imperfection, but it's not to me. It's perfect. Again, I'm gonna just add a small kind of wood bead, but I'm gonna lay everything else first. So again, I love this thing. I just have it in with my pumpkins and bring it out in the fall. Then it's kind of special, but I don't like to store totes and totes and totes of stuff. Be honest with yourself. I'll show you one of my totes here too. So again, this is an ironstone little piece. I made these. There is a post for this on the website. Just go to mycreativedays.com and search acorns and they will come right up. The list for the exact ones that I used, and you can do them in any color. I, of course, chose the green. There were different shades of green and some creams. But the list, the supply list and everything is on that blog post. So go right there and everything's there that you need. So I'm just setting that there. And then I'm going to sprinkle a few right in front. Whoops, so can you see those? They're felt balls, but I always get asked, which ones did you get? So they're all linked in that blog post. So again, I have had these, like you can dump this, you know, this piece isn't a great example of that, but let me see if oh yeah, here. So I got these at Michael's years ago on clearance. These scoops, I love them. And I have filled them with these and then kind of hung them up or just had them spilling out. But I'm not putting them in here this year. So just think, just have fun with it. Don't make it stressful. It should not be stressful. This should be fun, super fun. I'm just draping the wood beads kind of just around. If you wait until after you've placed things, then you can kind of finagle it wherever you need it. Okay, there's that. And then I wish I had a pair of these, but this little candlestick, I just thought I needed a little more height just right here just to kind of finish it out. So then I added that and there we go. Easy peasy. Here, and I will show you, I'm gonna lift this up. So this is a tote that I have and it's got those scoops in it. It's got a couple more of these pumpkins. I'm just gonna kind of add them in little areas, but I'm not doing a lot. I have a couple of these like little concrete pumpkins. You should be able to still get these at Hobby Lobby. But what I'm saying is I brought this tote out and so I get this question a lot. How do you store seasonal items? So I do have 2 totes for fall stuff. I might have had 3. I might have had 3 this year. But as I brought things out, I got rid of stuff that I didn't love. So I have a tote that can either be if you're gonna have a yard sale or you're gonna donate it. I have a tote ready to go. Now, what I do is, this tote is not going to work. So I can kind of show you kind of what I do here. Let me see if I can bring you guys down here. So I can, so as I am decorating for a new season, so this season is fall. Can you guys see that? What I do is I take the stuff like these peonies that I love, some of this greenery that I love, and I put it in a tote for the next season, if that makes sense. So I put some of this away, but it's not a lot. I have some pots in here. They're like these greenery pots, and then I have some actually like flower pots. But like, this is it. I try to be really conscious about what, and I know about what I'm bringing in. And I really like to use things like this that is, like, you can use it every season, if that makes sense. I don't want to store 17 totes for fall. Like, that's never going to happen for me. Christmas is a little different, but I don't even know if we have 17 totes. It's amazing because, again, when we start, like, fall starts going away, I start bringing Christmas stuff out. I will get rid of, I always have an empty box or an empty tote next to me as I get the Christmas stuff out. And then as I bring it out and I know that I'm not going to use it, then I just get rid of it. It's just, don't store things that you're not going to use, right? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Okay, does anybody have any other questions? I'm trying to think of some of the other questions I get asked when it comes to stuff like this. Let me just kind of go through. Hey, you are on live right now. I see some people said replay. But the little red live up here, if you don't see that, then you're on replay. But if you see that, you are. Yes. Yep. Use sticks from your yard. Yes, for sure. Okay. For height. Yes, and one question I get for like the acorns, if you're gonna pick them up, I would put them in the oven like at 200 for like an hour. People would say, back in the day when I was sharing all the stuff we were doing with the kids, people would say, are there bugs that would use? Yes, you can use twine as a nest, yeah. Thank you, Janet. Yeah, and so even you guys know I love a thrift store. Like, I love just going and looking at things and hunting for stuff. But go around your house. I literally, well, all of these are thrift store finds that I use in my house anyway, but you know, you can find so much in your house alone that you don't even have to head anywhere and spend any money. I mean it. I mean it. Yeah, that sheet picture is pretty good. Brass is my jam too. One of my favorite things, tarnished silver. I do too. I don't like to polish it. The more tarnished it is, the better. I'm going to show you guys this guy, which he could actually be out right now, but I just kind of put him away because I kept him up spring, summer. I want to know did I have him up last Christmas, but he was actually a thrift store find. And whenever I share this thing, people ask, there is actually a link that I can see if I can find where you can buy him. There was, but even he's a bunny, but yet it doesn't scream Easter to me. Fill this with the acorns. Fill this with pine cones, little tiny pine cones, whatever. It doesn't scream Easter to me, especially the color. He's heavy. So I think some of us, we get stuck in, oh my gosh, it's a rabbit. Only has to come out during Easter. No, it doesn't. It can be used for any season. Okay. That paintbrush is so good, right? That my mom had. There is so for those of you that don't know, my mom, all this stuff I get from my mom, meaning like the creativity, my mom refinished this piece when I was younger. My dad used to be in like fire restoration. So if like a building or something had a fire, he would go in and he would like do some insurance work, but then he could fix things up. And anyway, so there were a lot of times my dad would find amazing pieces like this and, they were going to toss it. And my mom would be like, no, I can save it. I wonder where I get it. And then, so she refinished this back in the day, you guys, when like all the tools and stuff that I share now, I always think of my mom doing this like by hand, like scraping it, sanding by hand. So this is just like a special, I love this piece. This piece will never be painted. This piece will never, this is like the one, I will share a link. If I can find this, I will put a link in the comments after I'm off here. But it's kind of the one thing that I always say, you know, everything's always for sale, but this is like one of those things. But she does have, there's a cabinet that she has. Why did I start this? I don't even know why I started this story, but she actually called me from a thrift store and she's like, there's this cabinet here and it's got 16, I think it was 16 little drawers. And she doesn't really know how, this was years ago. I can't even remember if I was probably doing full-time daycare here. I don't think I was working at like out of the home. I think I was home. Anyway, and she's like, it's this size and it's $20. And I'm like, well, it sounds amazing. Get it. She got that darn thing home and loved it so much. So it's been in her house ever since. So I'm always like, Mom, that is my cabinet. It's such a good one too. I'll have to share maybe in my story sometime when I'm over there. Oh, it would be a good one to make over. But I'm always like, just so you know, when you're ready to get rid of that, that is mine. I'll give you the $20. I'm the one that said, yes, get it. You called me to see if you should get it. So now when I find a piece and before I make it over, or if I know she's looking for a piece, I'll say, hey, I just found this. I always give her a hard time. I'm like, well, you can have this if you want to give me that little cubby piece. It's not a cubby piece. It's actually drawers. And I think it was like homemade. It's just so cool. Yes. See, so Barb, I have found many just like this. And so there is actually a piece that can go on the back or the front. But it's not connected. And, so I just leave that there, but yeah, I have seen a lot. Yeah. And so I always, if I can find a good deal on these pieces, I will always pick them up because they're so good and people love them. I grew up in Iowa. Those look like little buckeyes off a tree in the fall. These in here, they're pretty big. Is that what you mean? I know what you're talking about, the buckeyes that fall off the tree. But it's, those are pretty big. They are kind of the size of an artichoke. They're, you know, yes, decorate it, Barb, decorate it, decorate it. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions before I hop off? I'm, like I said, I just feel I'm just not doing a ton this year. I'm kind of moving things around over here where you guys can't see, but, just keeping it simple. Okay, I always appreciate when you share these videos. If you know somebody that wants to decorate on a dime, wants to learn how to shop thrift stores, pick these things up, look for these things, please share it. I appreciate it. Penny, so if you go to my website, go to mycreativedays.com. Her question was, where do you find just the acorn caps? Go to mycreativedays.com and in the search bar, it's kind of on the right side, just type in acorns and then you will find this project. And I linked the tops in there, the ones that I actually used. I bring buckeyes in from our tree. Yeah, do you put them like in a jar? Laura, where do you live? She said, I would kill to find a Hoosier cabinet reasonably priced. Yes, sometimes depending on where I'm shopping, like they're usually hundreds of dollars, but every once in a while at a thrift store or at a yard sale or something, I will come upon one that I'm like, what even? I just recently, this is on the website too, I rescued just the top of one of these. All it had was the top. Did not have, so it was just like this cabinet, if that makes sense, did not even have a top on the top or a bottom down here, and it didn't have this, but I rescued it anyway and we turned it into something usable again. We put legs on it. That's on the website as well. Like I will always, if I can fix it up, I have to bring it home. I have to bring it home. Where did you get the artichokes? I don't know if they are artichokes, but I found them at a thrift store. They look like that, but when I looked at like faux artichokes, because people were asking for them last time, they were all green. So I don't know really what these are, but they were at the thrift store in a bag. Always check your end caps at your thrift stores because they will have bags of just random things. You will find the most amazing things in those bags. They just put a bunch of things in there. Janet, I haven't checked your shop today. Do you restock on Wednesday? I do restock on Wednesday. I launch new items every Wednesday at noon Central Time, and I just started photographing the stuff for tomorrow. So there's a vintage scale tomorrow. There's some good stuff tomorrow. So yep, at noon. Oh, my acorns look like, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, kind of. I mean, like I said, I know what the Buckeyes look like. Let me just hold one up here. So this is what I'll show you in this color. I love green. I love green. So in this set, these were the colors. I'm trying to do this. These were the colors that came in this set of the felt balls. Perfect for our home. So Hilly, she likes to like grab your sleeves. So it looks great, I thought, on the bottom shelf around the white picture. Are you talking about the, I think you're talking about the, yeah, put Buckeyes in trays, and you could use those in something like this and use them as the filler. Put them in a glass jar. Yes. I couldn't believe for $50. I'm in Canada and bought years ago at a farm sale. Yes. Estate sales, farm sales, as long as the people, I mean, sometimes when they have companies running the estate sales, it just gets so crazy. There's certain ones around here I won't even go to because it's just, recently there was an estate sale and the prices were so crazy and the people running it, I had never seen before, right? And so I'm thinking, what is going on? Well, then a friend of mine messaged me, I don't know, the next week or a couple days after it was over. And she's like, you just go in there now and name your price. They haven't sold anything. I'm like, yeah, because their prices were so crazy. Like I could have went to an antique store and saved a lot of money and got that stuff. So yes. Oh, and the cheapest one that I have found is in the $300 range. If you find them cheaper, they're totally trash. I get it. Yep. Buckeyes are dark brown and shiny. Yes, they are. What are Buckeyes? Caroline, you'll have to, Carolyn, is it Carolyn? I said Caroline. Carolyn, you'll have to Google it and you'll see. Go Buckeyes, I love that. Oh, okay. I think I got through all the questions. If you are watching this on replay and you have another question, let me know. I will try and look for the link for this again, if I can find it. And I will put it in the comments. I bought off a lady last summer. She asked what she had paid. I was so excited. I will look for a link for this, for the acorn tops, the felt balls that I use. Those are all on my website, mycreativedays.com. Just search acorns and they will come right up. Probably, Carolyn, you might call them chestnuts in Canada. You might. Although those might be different. I don't know. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions after watching this on replay, and I will talk to you guys really soon.